Hi there. So someone has asked me about one of my Twitter comments. So a few days ago, I tweeted, "Only through you, third dimensional incarnate beings, can reality express itself as multidimensional." So somebody's asked me, what does that mean, and can you explain it? So what the Nine is saying to me here about that is, only through you, third dimensional incarnate beings, so that's all of us that are third dimensional, only through us can reality express itself as multidimensional. So that's our perspective, is that we see reality as multidimensional if we are awake to the awareness of other dimensions. Obviously, if we're fully third dimensional, we're not going to be aware of other dimensions until we start to become aware, which is the pathway for everyone. But when we're aware of other realities, other dimensions, we learn to decode that unified energy as a scale. So we learn to decode that as dimensions. So we see reality as multidimensional, and all that is true. Reality expresses itself as multidimensional through our interpretation of it, because what we interpret, how we interpret reality, is what creates the reality for us. We are unified with our environment, we are at one with our environment, so our thoughts and our emotions and our entire energetic makeup create the reality that we experience. So reality as a living being, so reality is not just something that happens to us, it's a living, intelligent consciousness itself. It expresses itself as a multidimensional structure through our interpretation of it. So as we interpret reality as multidimensional, it expresses itself as multidimensional because we're interpreting it as such, and our interpretation becomes reality because we are at one with our environment. We are the same consciousness. So reality without us, is it multidimensional? And that's the question. That's what this sort of tweet meant. And actually this tweet is just a sentence taken from a video, channeled video that I uploaded a week ago. It's just one sentence from that larger channeling. So reality itself, is it multidimensional without our interpretation? And the answer to that would be no, because without our interpretation, the third dimensional anchor, say we're not there, then reality is a unified field. It's one moment. There is no linear time. So if there's no one there to experience linear time, then there is no linear time. It doesn't exist. It's the same sort of concept as that saying, if a tree falls in a forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? And, you know, the answer to that would be, there'd be a vibration because of the earth. There'd be a vibration as the tree hits the earth, and there would be some kind of reaction from the environment around the tree, and there'd be an action as the tree hits the ground. But there wouldn't be what we would perceive as sound. There would simply be vibration. The sound is interpreted through our ears. So somebody would have to perceive sound. Some structure would have to perceive sound in order to be able to say that that tree made a sound. So it's exactly the same thing. If we weren't here, if third dimensional beings were not experiencing linear time, they wouldn't perceive reality as multidimensional. Reality would not express itself as multidimensional because there'd be no interpretation of it that interprets it as such. So reality would simply be what it is, which is unified, one moment, 0 point. It's not layered as in number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, that's a linear interpretation of that unified field so that we may decode it and understand it and process it and integrate it. in order to feed that interpretation back to it, so it knows what it is. So it's a reciprocal journey between us and reality, or source, unified field, whatever word you want to give to it. So without us, there isn't momentum within the reality in a dimensional sense. There isn't momentum because there's no interpretation of reality. And that's how important we are. We are the anchors of reality. That's why the third dimension and other dimensions exists. So that's what that tweet means. Only through you, third dimensional incarnate beings, can reality express itself as multidimensional. So I hope that made sense. I thought I would do a quick video. Rather than writing to everyone, I thought I'd just do a video on that one tweet, because I understand why that is a concept for one to get their head around. And when you do get your head around these concepts, you go through expansion, because the brain starts to work in a different way. The brain has started to decode reality in a different way than how it's always done before. It starts to use different light streams, if you like. And so the brain literally begins to expand, and thus the DNA, because they mirror one another, the expansion within the brain and the expansion within the whole DNA field. So getting your head around these concepts and asking questions and formulating answers in your mind, and moving forward into exploring the unknown, the metaphysical, that will assist you in that expansion. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video, only short, but that's what it's about, explaining that tweet. So thank you to whoever asked that question, and we'll see you again. Bye.
In this channeled transmission, I enter into an expansive, transformative and activating exploration of interdimensional dialogue, discussing the mechanics of Stargate Ascension. This cutting-edge information holds key codes, maps and coordinates for the starseeds on Earth, as they go through this process of DNA reconstruction and regrouping of cosmic memory themselves. The significant codex of information is downloaded to the reader, as they, through this sacred text, are called by the Dragon, Excalibur, Crystalline Light Geometry, Atlantis, and the Emerald Flame. I am so very pleased to present my new book, The Infinite Helix and the Emerald Flame,